I introduce Kevin Powers, our play-by-play announcer.
Good evening, Austintown, and welcome to this edition of Austintown Community Television Sports. And like Ken said, we are coming from Brooke, West Virginia, Pennsylvania's Mount Lebanon High School, which is usually a nationally ranked high school power. So they are a threat here. Also, looking at the past history of Brooke, West Virginia, last year they were the Class AAA West Virginia State Champions. And that was the second time they were state champions in the past 3 years, where they were state champions once again in 1985. Also, under Coach Bud Billard, in his last 9 years, they've made it to the playoffs 8 times in West Virginia, and he has a record at Brooke of 96, 18-1, which is a 800-plus average. So that's an excellent average here, and that sets the tone for this game because the Falcons coming into this game are 5-1 as well, and they are in need of victories to maintain their status going towards a playoff berth. Joining me today for this broadcast, which is unusual because it is a daylight game, in fact, I think the first daylight game for the Falcons since the 1968 season. So joining me today is Ken Carano in place of John Rourke, who is vacationing.
Yeah, no, John is out refereeing volleyball. Kevin, it is beautiful. I'm glad it's an afternoon game here in West Virginia, because if we could, we're going to give you a little idea of what this stadium is. It's set right on the bottom of a circular mountain, and it is absolutely gorgeous. The trees are turning all kind of colors, and here comes the Brooke Bruins, and their fans are, I have to say, fanatical. Yeah, it's really super. It's a beautiful stadium, a $4.5 million stadium. I'm sorry that you can't see the stands where we are. Their fans are sitting here. Obviously, our fans, you can see the red and the blue across the field, and those are bleachers set up for the people coming in to compete against the Bruins. But it is a beautiful day. It was a beautiful drive down here. It is something that's a big unknown. We don't know the caliber of football. We know that they are very successful. Last year's Quad A Division champions. That's their big school championship here in West Virginia. And they have all intentions of being back there again this year. So we'll find out just how the Steel Valley and Ohio football, and we know how tough that is, ranks against the powers in West Virginia.
You're certainly right, Ken. This is the typical college football town. It is incredible. The Brooke High School system comprises several local communities, and they have an attendance of 1,600. And this is a football town. On the drive in, there is a big hype all over the town. It's one of the quaint Ohio River towns from the late 1800s, early 1900s of the industrial boom here along the Ohio Valley. And it is just an incredible town. They have a lot of pride in their school, and as can be shown here today, everyone's wearing gold and green. The color.
Are we playing Green Bay or Notre Dame, or is it Ursuline?
Yeah. And of course, I'm surprised at the contingent of Falcon fans here. They've made the drive down here. They're here in good force to support our Falcons in today's contest. I don't know if you noticed, Ken, when the Brooke players came out at the beginning here, there was fire coming from the Bruin on the scoreboard. I think their scoreboard's one of their most surprising things here. It has a display screen, and there also was fire coming from the Bruin there, so that should be interesting.
We're high atop the press box, and we'll be standing, so I'm glad I wore my good shoes.
Right now, out on the field for the Falcons are their captains, number 80, Don Hauser, number 63, Jeff Galino, number 73, Rich the Chalk, and number 22, Rob Tofill. They're waiting for the toss of the coin here to decide who's going to get possession to open this ball game. Now, speaking of state playoffs, and this is the time of the year where it really comes into focus, and this week in the Ohio High School Grid poll, selected by the coaches and the Associated Press, Austintown Fitch is now resting at 10. So we are 10th as of the coaches' AP poll. And also at number 5 is Warren Western Reserve, next week's opponent. And we will get more to that after we see who won the toss here. And the Falcons have won the toss. And they've elected to receive. So the Falcons will be opening this ball game up by going on offense first. Now, as I was saying, In the computer rankings this week in Division I, Region 3, where the Falcons are, we are now staying at a tie for 6th place with Upper Arlington, and we have 48 computer points. Top in our region is Groveport Madison with 74 computer points. Big right here is number 2 in our region, Warren Western Reserve High School, tied with Westerville North with 58.5 points. Massillon Washington is 4th with 49 points, and Chillicothe is 5th with 48.5 points. But it's interesting, though, that Massillon did lose to Warren Harding last night, and that will definitely drop them down, but it doesn't do the Falcons any good. We were 5th last week in our region in computer points. However, all of the teams we've beat so far have lost, and so that's really hurting us at this moment. However, if we come out of this game with a victory and go on next week to beat Warren Western Reserve, you'll see our standings in our region jump dramatically.
This is a production of the Austintown Fitch High School television production class with, in cooperation with the school board, the trustees, and Armstrong Cable. And it's brought to you by Mr. Robertson of Robertson Photographies and Kamara Jewelers in a number of different locations. And once again, we'd like to thank them. And here we go, ready for the kickoff of this game between two strong teams from two different states.
Number 6, Tom Mazzone, kicking off for the Brooke, West Virginia. Wesson, Connereth, and Opalik all deep to receive for the Falcons. High but short kick. Connereth's going to take it around the 10-yard line. He's looking for the far side of the field, and he's going to be dropped at the 15-yard line, and the crowd here at Brooke erupts. So this is going to be a contest not only for the football teams, but for one of the fans. We're going to have to overcome the distance and the fan factor here, Ken.
I'll tell you, at that time, the kick was not very long, but it was very high. And for the first time, you could see that since we're playing in the daylight, our boys, Al Connereth was looking up into the light, and it was bothering him a little bit.
Yeah, this is new for high school football. Of course, most of the kids are used to playing on the JV and freshman and so on middle school levels during the day, so it isn't that much of a culture shock. It might have been a couple of years. So that's Marakovich on the first offensive carry, and he's going to get only about 2. So already the Brooke defense shows why they were state champions last year and are 5-1 this year. They look like a strong ball club. Let's set up the offense now on the field for the Falcons. Starting off at quarterback is number 9, senior Derek Fletcher. At the fullback position, number 48, Matt Marakovich, a junior. Halfbacks are juniors, number 32, Chuck Wesson, and number 34, Al Connereth. Split end right now is number 22, Rob Tofel. He's wide out this side of the field. Also number 10, Jeff Scott's a split end. Fletcher rolls out. He's going to keep it himself. He's all the way out around the 25 and close to the 30-yard line, so that's good enough for the Falcons' first down.
That's one of the Falcons' favorite plays, simply letting Derek Fletcher go wide one way or the other. I don't think at that time he had any intention whatsoever of passing the ball, but the blocking was superb, and they followed the fake over to the Falcons' right side, and it was a big, wide opening for Derek.
He also got some help from that offensive line. Our tackles being Trent Maskell and Ben Burton, the guards Jamie Fitzpatrick, Jeff Galino, the center Tony Dorenzo, number 80 Don Hauser is the tight end. Flags on the play. And that's carry from Marakovich, but it'll be a legal procedure against the Falcons. 10:46 remaining here in the first period.
We've been having that problem the last couple of games. We shift a lot, but what's happening is the boys are shifting, and they're so concentrating on that shift that they end up moving themselves. So once again, we had 3 people at that time really moving at the same time.
So that's what it'll be against the Falcons, a legal procedure. Now to move them back 5 yards, so it'll be bring up first down and 15. Ball resting now on the 23-yard line. And of course, it's interesting here, Ken. There's as many cheerleaders down there on the track as there are football players for Brooke, West Virginia.
I noticed that. I mean, they go from the 2 deep from the 10-yard line to the 10-yard line.
So they have a cheerleading contingent as well as a good football team here at Brooke. Derek Fletcher, quarterback, first down and 15. Handoff is to Wesson. He has an opening, and he's all the way out to about the 27-yard line, so that'll make up for that 5 we lost, but it'll bring up second down and 10. Getting back to our offensive line, and I brushed through them real quickly, and they deserve a lot more credit than that. They've been doing a heck of a job this year, and there are, as I mentioned before, Hauser, Maskell, Galino, Dorenzo, Fitzpatrick, and Burton. And of course, Ken, in our type of offense, they have to do a good job because we have to sustain their blocks longer than, say, a straightforward type offense. We have pulling guards, and we have people doing blocks that have to be held longer.
The Falcons don't use a lot of dive plays.
Fletcher now has an opening, and he's going to pick up about 4, so it'll bring up 3rd down and 6. Ball resting now on the 33-yard line.
Now, there was a wide hole, and Derek made use of it. But now we have a big 3rd down play with about 5 yards to go. And what do you think the Falcons are going to do?
Well, of course, we know the SOP here for the Falcons. Standard operating procedure would be to go with Derek Fletcher on the rollout, and it is probably the best thing to do. It gives us the option of either running or throwing. So we have number 25, Eric Toffel, at the split end. He's out this side of the field. The Falcons are... Now, that is not...
The delay of game. They gave us a delay of game. Okay, you and I both had the same idea.
Yeah, it wasn't a legal procedure. It was delay of game, and now the Falcons' mistakes are starting to hurt them. We're doing a little formation shifting, and it just doesn't seem to be working out right now.
Yeah, there's a communications gap here someplace because they come out of the huddle, and at that point, Derek Fletcher wanted Don Hauser to move over to the other side, and when he did, obviously, the wide receiver had to move over to the other place, and it took too long. And they have 25-second clocks here at the stadium.
And we have 7 seconds left on the clock right now for 25 seconds. Fletcher gets the play off. He's going to have to run it, and he's not going to have enough for the first down. He's only going to pick up a yard. The whole Brooke team was in on that stop, so the Falcons are stopped on their first drive with 8:56 remaining in the first period.
Now, Jeff Wilkins is going to have to kick into a rather stiff wind. Now, I'm sure it's swirling, but it is coming into his face. So we're going to see, we have to make sure we get the good snap, and then Jeff Wilkins will have to get a good kick against a hard wind.
Wilkins is standing on his own 17-yard line. Number 7's going to field it on the 29. Good coverage by the Falcons. Chuck Campbell makes the stop. Good play by number 29. That was Larry Palmer.
Larry Palmer is their, supposedly their big runner, their big threat on kickoffs and on punts. But that time it was covered well.
Chuck Campbell did a nice job of reducing any threat there. So the Falcons are now on defense with the Brooke, West Virginia Bruins starting on their own 34-yard line. They have 2 wideouts far side of the field. They're running an I formation.
Well, that's a strange formation. Look at, they have the wideouts are back right behind each other.
Running sort of a pro set. Don Hauser on the stunt. He has the pressure. It's a shuffle pass.
No good.
That was an interesting move by the quarterback there, but he did avoid a sack, so he did his job there. But to bring up 2nd down and 10 because the pass was incomplete. Let's set up the Falcon defense right now. At the nose tackle for the Falcons is number 59, Mike Connolly, a senior. The tackles, number 73, Rhys Tachaka, senior, and also a senior, number 79, John Polish. Outside backers for the Falcons, number 42, John Mahakovich, and number 87, Matt Starry. 2nd and 10, 8:05 remaining first period. Same formation again for the Bruins. This time a pitch out short side of the field. There's a penalty. Good play there by number 87, Matt Starry. Perfect outside linebacking play there.
All kind of flags on that play, Kevin. I'm not quite sure what it was, but they were the linemen, the line officials.
And that will be illegal procedure against the Bruins. So that will cost the Bruins 5 yards here, or we may decline the penalty. I don't see why we would, but we'll see what the call.
They are giving you the signal to decline it. It's 3rd down.
We're going to decline it, so it'll bring up 3rd down and long, and probably a good call because it is a 3rd and long situation, and the Brooke passing game has yet to been proven. So the Falcons will see if they can hold here with 3rd down and 7.5. Ball resting on the 36-yard line. Now the Bruins are using their own formation shifting. They run the pro set, a lot of different formations. Long count. It's going to be the option. The quarterback takes it, and he's dropped short of the first down by number 80, Don Hauser. So that will end the drive for the Brooke Bruins. And
good quick play by Don Hauser. The hole opened there for a second. The quarterback really didn't look like he has that blinding speed because he cut up, and immediately Don Hauser got his feet.
So the Bruins will have to punt, and so we've seen an exchange of punts here for the first series of both the Falcons and the Bruins. Wesson is standing on his own 25-yard line. A short kick, and it's going to drop out of bounds. Wherever they mark it, it's around the 45-yard line, and it went out of bounds.
Moving back up towards 47.
So the Falcons will get good field position. Bad punt there by number 14 for the Bruins, T.J. Billard, and that's going to give the Falcons an excellent position to start their second drive of this afternoon. Now, Ken, it's interesting to note that the Falcons don't really know what to expect from the Bruins here, and so now after maybe a first series under their belts, they'll be able to get a better feel and open up the offense for the Falcons.
There's the flag.
Wesson is trapped in the backfield, and he's going to lose a yard, maybe get back to the line of scrimmage.
There's a flag on the play, and it will be against our left side, starting a little bit too early.
So we're having some trouble getting our starts down here. We're having illegal procedure trouble. That's our third penalty already. It's our second illegal procedure and a delay of game so far, and we've only run 4 offensive plays.
That creates a situation for us that, you're playing a good football team. You don't want to start off with a 5-yard penalty each time. And they are going to march it off.
So that'll take the Falcons back near their own 40-yard line. They still have good field position, but they have to work with a first down and 15.
Yeah, we really have to settle down. I think everyone's flying high, and that's not our speed. Our speed is the psychological game. Remember what you're supposed to do. Don't make mistakes.
Our kind of game, exactly what we saw last week against Ursuline, where we maintained long drives on the ground and were able to put in enough points to win the game. Handoff is to Marakovic, and he has good yardage, about 6 on the play, so it'll bring up second down and 9. And speaking of last week's Ursuline game, and we haven't got to that problem that we did have last week, we had 4 good drives. 3 of them resulted in field goals, and the other one was stopped inside the 5, but we weren't producing last week on touchdowns.
That was the bugaboo. I wish you wouldn't have mentioned that, but that is the truth. We just seemed to close up as soon as we would get within the 10-yard line.
Second down and 9. Hand off to Wesson, and they get penetration. Brooke, West Virginia is doing some stunning up front, and they're able to get in our backfield before our play can get underway. They'll bring up 3rd and long, and just as I was saying that we have to sustain our blocks, the type of offense we have, is what exactly we're not doing right now.
I would say that they did an excellent job of scouting us, because immediately when that ball got into Chuck Wesson's hands, everyone went to that particular area to try to close the outside up. We're going to have to bust up a little bit more in the inside to keep them a little bit more honest.
So that'll bring up 3rd down and 10. Fletcher is going to hand off to Wesson, but he's not going to have enough for the first down. He's only going to pick up 4, so the Falcons will have to punt again, and now this has turned into a defensive struggle. Only 1 first down so far, and it's been by the Falcons.
Well, West Virginia, reading the information about Brooke High School, that is their forte. Defense is their forte. The whole idea is that they stop you, and then they eventually, somewhere along the line, are going to get the defense is going to set up the offense for a score.
Wilkins gets a nice high kickoff. The returner, number 7, Palmer, he's going to fall down with the ball on the 10-yard line, so at least the Falcons were able to put the Bruins in poor field position on their own 11-yard line. And now that the defense comes in, let me deal with the secondary. I didn't get a chance to read them off on the last series. They were in there very shortly. The inside linebackers for the Falcons are number 80, Don Hauser. He's a senior and also the leading tackler for the Falcons. And also inside linebacker, number 40, Jeff Powers, a junior. Rounding out the secondary for the Falcons, strong safety, junior, number 29, Chuck Campbell. Halfback, senior, number 1, Todd Opalek. Corner, number 22, Rob Tofill, a senior. And also at number 9, Derek Fletcher, free safety, also a senior for the Falcons. So that rounds out the secondary. There's an official timeout on the field.
I just saw something that I'm not quite sure what's happening. I'm going to assume that here in West Virginia, the officials have the right to call a timeout, for example, to have people rest or something, because neither team is being charged with this timeout, yet they're bringing out the water and the whole bit for them, and it is an official's timeout.
That is interesting. We'll have to get used to the West Virginia rules. Also, because they probably do play the majority of their games in the day, that maybe that's a situation where it's hotter in the earlier part of the season that they find that necessary to bring out the water for the players. It certainly is not going to hurt either team, and the play will resume right now with 4:17 remaining in the first period. A lot of shifting once again. They move from the wishbone, the Bruins, and now they have two wideouts again, far side of the field, I formation. Handoff is going to be the second back through, and a good play by Hauser, and also there on the outside, number 42 OLB, John Mahakovich.
There was a prime example. Chuck Campbell came in on a blitz, and it looked like he was free. He just missed the tackle, but it was just enough to stop the runner and hold him open for Don Hauser.
Well, our defense is certainly holding their muster here so far. The Bruins have yet to get a first down, and now they're faced with second and long, about 7. Now all their receivers are to this side of the field. It's going to be a pass. They have two receivers open, and they have one in the hook pattern, and he's finally brought down by 40 Powers, but that's good enough for a first down.
Now there was our zone defense. We had 4 defenders standing along the sideline, and the Brooke receiver just walked right in, stood in front, got the ball. He was tackled immediately, but there he was, just standing right in front. No one bothered him until after he caught the ball.
They do send the two receivers like they had to the short side of the field where we have our weakness, only a cornerback. So they did pick our zone apart there, good enough for a first down. Handoff is a straight dive up the middle. It goes nowhere. Hauser, Conley, and number 79, Polish, all in there on the stop.
You know, at every one of the pass plays, we are chasing that quarterback. I mean, he's always on the run. I mean, they don't protect him very well. They try to play action. They don't use a pocket.
I think defense coordinator Jack Kenny is using a little more stunts here today, and I think he did some good scouting, and the rest of the Falcon staff, because they know the tendencies of the Brooke team. Second down and long. Long count by the Bruins. Quarterback for them is number 11, Charlie Basil, or Basil. Handoff is to number 25, the ball carrier. That's Bob Ruxandwich. He's going to pick up about 3, so to bring up third down and 6. Powers on the stop for the Falcons.
That was a nice job by Jeff, because Rich DeChalk was double teamed, and they pushed him out just slightly, but the hole was there, and it was filled up very nicely by Jeff Powers. You know that name, don't you? Yes.
It's going to be the option. Quarterback Basil will keep it, and he's going to have close to first down yards. He may be shy by about a half a yard. We'll have to see where the mark is.
We're in West Virginia. They're going to mark the ball as a first down. I mean, I'm not being facetious. I mean, obviously, I believe he did run for the first down.
But
if we're going to talk about inches, we're going to...
The old West Virginia ball placement. No, we're being snide here because this is a nice stadium here at Brooke, West Virginia.
People have been absolutely cordial here. Absolutely cordial.
Of course, I know you have to deal with all the different teams varies through the week because you do have to set up our TV broadcast.
Oh, they're fun people.
Yeah. They have a man streaking down the sideline on a timing pattern, and it's just over his hands of number 21, the receiver, Nick Croce, from the arms of number 11, Charlie Bastille. And that was a timing pattern all the way. They were streaking down the sideline, and he was open. He was just a step short of that completion and a touchdown.
At every step, he was getting slightly further ahead of Derek Fletcher. On the coach's scouting report that came in, there was a big statement around this gentleman saying that he was the one to watch on a deep threat because he has speed.
And that he does. That was number 21, Nick Croce. That was incomplete, so to bring up second down and 10. Ball resting on the Bruins' 34-yard line. Basil rolls out. He's getting good pressure by Mahakovich. He's going to have to throw it up. Good defensive play by Chuck Campbell. He did exactly what a secondary person should do. He jumped for the ball at its peak, and that was a good defensive play.
They're giving him pressure. Don Hauser on the blitz that time. I'm not sure who came from the outside.
Number 42, John Mahakovich, our OLB.
It was Mahakovich. Okay, and they really were one step away again with a sack. Now, the quarterback is quick. he gets that ball off real fast.
Definitely, we are doing something different out there on defense. We're trying to put as much pressure as we can on the quarterback, and right now it's doing the job. We have 4 down linemen. Starry's outside wide, covering a wide out. It's a draw. Number 25 gets around the first tackle and is finally brought down by number 59, Conley. Pickup of about 2 on the play, maybe 3. But it will bring up a 4th down and long, and so in comes the punting unit of the Bruins. So right now it is another punting situation with 1 minute remaining in the first period. We have yet to see an offensive drive by either of the teams. Falcons will set up the return. Wesson standing on his own 30. He's fair catching it, and Chuck really had some yardage to the run there. He fair caught it on the 30, but it was one of those tough punts to field, so he probably did the safe thing with 51 seconds remaining first period.
Yeah, Chuck, when he sees that, is probably going to kick himself because there was a low line drive to him, and if he had at least 15 yards in front of him before he would have gotten tackled. But then again, that ball was hopping around, so that's his decision.
It's one of those punts when it's coming at you that fast, you have to make a split decision, and maybe you don't have enough time to look at where the defense is coming at you. So Connors has a hole right now in first down, and he's able to pick up 10 yards all the way out to the 40, so the Falcons may be bursting to life here offensively.
Beautiful play, picture perfect. It looked like it was on the blackboard. The blocking was there, the reverse came up. The hole was there because everyone followed the fake, and he picked up his 10 yards.
Right now, the Austintown Fitch High School marching band has made it to the field. They marched on in halfway through the first period. They must have got stuck somewhere along the line. But and they're aiding to the Falcons' momentum here with their playing of the music. Marakovich has a hole, and he's got some good running. And he's all the way out for another 10 yards inside Bruins territory. The first time either team has encroached their opponent's territory.
Kevin, I wish we had instant replay. Matt Marakovich put his shoulders back and used every ounce of muscle on him, and he plowed through 3 people. The last one sort of got tangled up in his feet. That was a beautiful run.
Just over 12 seconds remaining here in the first period. The Falcons will get off one last play. First down and 10, ball in the Bruins 49. And we have another flag. West Virginia officials seem to have a discrepancy here with the Falcons formation shift. And that will be illegal motion against the Falcons. That'll move them back 5 yards, and they'll be able to get one more play off here. No, they won't. That'll run it out, and that'll be the end of the first period here in Brooke, West Virginia. The score standing 0-0, a deadlock here, and the Falcons are now just starting to get a offensive movement going.
We'd like to thank Robertson Studio Photography for sponsoring this and all our Falcon football games. Robertson Studio has 2 locations to serve you at 3671 South Meridian Road and the Environmental Studio located at 2994 Whispering Pines Drive. For all your photography needs, we urge you to go to Robertson Studio and thank him for us for sponsoring all these football games here at Austintown Fitch High School. Given the first quarter, I would say we had the edge. There's no question about it. It looked like we had the opportunity at times to move the ball, but we're our own worst enemy. We end up with that 5-yard penalty all the time, and it's really hurting us.
Unofficially, I think the Falcons have 5 penalties now here in the first period alone, and like you said, it has hurt us. That's 25 yards right there, and that could be used effectively in an offensive drive. What the Falcons have to do now is avoid those penalties and keep the momentum they have going. Unfortunately, I think maybe the change in period might have broke the momentum a little, may have been a stop in it that may hurt the Falcons. We'll have to see how they come out right now to begin the second period. They are now back in their own territory, ball resting on the 46. They have first down and 15 facing them. Connorth in motion. Handoff is to Wesson on the counter, and he's able to pick a hole, and he's going to get about 8 on the play. So the Falcons have found their offensive niche right now. They're starting to open up the Bruin defense, and we're doing a good job out there on the line of scrimmage. That line, of course, being Mascola, Burton, Conley, and Hauser. Excuse me, that's Dorenzo, and Fitzpatrick is also in there on the offensive line.
Now what they're doing is they're hurting Brooke Bruins in the inside. Eventually that's going to open up that outside for us.
Eric Tofel wide out this side. Mrakovic is the carrier, and he's all the way across the 40-yard line, so he's going to have a first down for the Falcons all the way down to the Bruins 37, and now the Falcons are on a roll. 11:20 remaining in the first half.
Now that's the type of football that we play the best. The ball control, and everything is working well. The line, I have to say, more than anything else is doing it. We are hurting them on the line.
Fletcher rolls out this side. Good block there by Fitzpatrick, and he's going to have to throw it out, and that was intended for number 10, Jeff Scott, but it'll be incomplete and bring up a 2nd and 10.
I think at that point, Derek threw the ball, but we're sitting up here with the coaches. It's so easy to see from up here, obviously not on the field, but he did have room to go and run the ball because all the receivers were turned around ready to block for him.
2nd and 10 for the Falcons. Still, they're resting on the Bruins' 37-yard line. It's the counter trap to Conner, but the Bruins have seen films of that play, or otherwise that was just a good play on their part, but it's going to cost the Falcons 3 yards and now bring up 3rd and 13.
Well, what you said before, Kevin, about the team, Brooke is playing games on the line. They're blitzing people, and really the teams that watch a lot of times we see those stunts. John Rohr constantly talks about the fact that people stun against us, and sometimes they work out, and sometimes it works against them. But that time, they did a stunt on the right side, and it worked perfectly for Brooke.
Fletcher rolls out again, far side. He's going to have to keep it. He's looking for the outside. We have a flag down, probably an offensive penalty. Fletcher's going to be 2 yards short of the first down marker, but there's a flag down in the field. Now back to what you were just talking about, stunning, Ken. The reason most teams probably do stun against the Falcons is, as I mentioned earlier, we have to sustain our blocks because our point of attack, or POA in football terms, has to be held so long, and if you stun in there, you get penetration and you disrupt the plays because they do take time to form in the backfield. And just on that previous counter trap, exactly what happened. Right there.
And we bite the bullet again. Here comes a 15-yard penalty against us for clipping.
That's going to take us all the way back inside our own territory at the 43. So we have yet to cross that 30-yard line of the Bruins, and we're way back now, and that's another penalty that'll really hurt us. I think that's 6 penalties now for a total of 40 yards.
We have anyone back there for a quick kick? With the wind, I'll tell you what.
That is a distinct possibility right now, and the wind is blowing in that direction. Fletcher's looking. He has Eric Tofel down this side of the field. Oh, right through Tofel's hands and out of bounds. He was open, and that was a good throw by Fletcher, probably aided a little by the wind, but that would have been a first down. Incomplete pass for the Falcons, and out comes the punting unit one more time.
I'll tell you what, Eric, when Eric sees the films, it's one of those plays that you don't want to show up for the films on Monday because the ball was perfectly thrown. It was in his hands, and then if he would have caught that, at the very least, we had a first down. But the fact is that he probably would have had a touchdown. Well, this is high school.
Wilkins gets a nice kick. It's going to be taken at the 15 of the Bruins. Good coverage again, and the missed tackle finally brought down by number 32, Weston, and that will be about a 10-yard return, about 12 altogether, so the Bruins will start on their own 26. They have yet to have good field position, so that's aiding the Falcons right now.
That certainly is a plus for the Falcons. Keep them in the hole.
The Bruins come right out right away. They are running a quick type offense. I noticed about them. They do not stay in the huddle very long. Handoff is to the second back. He stopped at the line of scrimmage by Conley, also Polish in on the stop at number 40, Jeff Powers. Back.
John Polish was hit twice, and it looked like it didn't even phase him. But they were trying to isolate him at the least there, and then Jeff Powers just jumped right in the hole. Our line is really holding up well against their offensive line.
Pickup of 3.5 on the play. bring up second down and a long 6. Handoff is again to 29, Roxanvich, and he's going to be stopped near the line of scrimmage. All the way in there are 79 Polish again, Conley, and Hauser, number 80, in there for the Falcons.
We got to give a little credit, too, to Rich DeChalk. He didn't quite get him in the backfield. That would have been a nice loss, but he made him change his direction, and at that point he went right into the blocks.
So third down and a long 6, I formation for Basil, the quarterback. It's going to be backside pass, and Starry comes up and makes the play. He had to. The reception was made, but Starry and then Powers coming to finish him off made the play, so no first down. So they're going to mark it at the point where he caught the ball and he was knocked backwards, but it's still going to be short. So to bring up 4th and 2, and once again the punting units will come in. They're getting the most playing time so far this afternoon. Weston is now standing back on his own 34-yard line.
Now, I don't want to, there should have been a flag there.
A better kick for the Bruin kicker. He hasn't been having a good day.
Let it go, Chuck.
Weston just comes close to fielding it, but he doesn't. So the Falcons will start now on their own 26-yard line with 7:30 remaining in the half. Still a deadlocked ball game at 0.
The co-sponsor of this game and all our Fitch Falcons game is Kamara Jewelers, with 3 locations to serve you in Struthers, Boardman, and on 3675 South Meridian Road in Cornersburg. That store is the one that serves Austintown and Canfield. For all your jewelry needs, go to Kamara Jewelers.
And that play was stopped in the backfield. Good penetration. Number 32, Chuck Weston, was the ball carrier, but he's only going to get back to the line of scrimmage, maybe lose half a yard. So the Falcons now are faced with 2nd and long, an official timeout.
That was another one of those stunts. Number 15, Mike Sonini, came from the outside and just blew right into the hole. I mean, way before the play even began. And there he was, just as the handoff.
You know, when a team stunts, it's the famous song of all time, or the famous line, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. And maybe one of these times the Falcons can get a good playoff against the stunts and open it up for a big one. We need it right now. 6:40 remaining in the half. 0-0. Falcons on their own 27. Handoff to Wesson. And he's only going to pick up about 4. Good carry, but it'll still bring up 3rd and 6. I'd like to remind everyone also that this Austintown Community Television rebroadcast is a co-sponsored event or production by the Austintown local schools in cooperation with Armstrong Communications, the Austintown trustees, and the Austintown School Board. 3rd and 7 for the Falcons. Handoff to Marakovich. Good running by Matt, and he's all the way out to the Falcons 45, so a good long carry by Marakovich keeps this drive alive. 5:54 remaining in the first half.
You know, I'll tell you what, Matt has a lot of deception when it comes to his speed. You know, he looks like he's lumbering, but he's moving out there. Everyone else from Brooke seemed to stand around and look and see this big guy go plowing through them.
So the Falcons now have a 1st and 10 on their own 46. Conrath has a hole, and he's inside Bruins territory. 2nd time for the Falcons so far this afternoon, and he's all the way down to the 48 of the Bruins. And you notice once we get something going, it seems to keep going, unless a penalty stops us, and that's what we have to avoid right now on this drive.
Now, this is the 3rd time, Kevin, that we've been across past the 50, and every time, now here's the crucial play, the 2nd down play puts us back because of a penalty.
Once we get that penalty, it seems to kill all our momentum, but if we can keep that momentum going, we should do well. And right now, Weston got a good carry. Close to the 1st down yardage, he'll be marked at the 45, so there'll be about maybe a half a ball length short. We may even have it. So as long as we keep these plays going, opening up the holes and no penalties, we should be able to keep a drive alive.
It looks as if things are, you know, calmed down on both sides now. They both the Falcons and the Bruins both know what they're supposed to do. It's just that line of scrimmage. The Falcons have to continue doing a job on them.
3rd and 1. Handoff from Marakovic. He sheds off the first tackler, and he's enough for the first down. Good running by Marakovic, way to keep his legs moving, and he's across the marker for a first down. Ball now resting on the Bruins' 44-yard line, about the 43 now. So the Falcons will have 1st and 10 there. They have 4:27 to work with here in the first half.
I'll tell you, there was no way of stopping Matt that time. He was hit and hit hard just as he received the ball, and frankly, the tackler just shed right off of him.
Fletcher rolls out the wide side. He has Scott open, but he doesn't throw it. He's getting a lot of pressure, and he's finally sacked, a loss of 2. Now that may be the play that hurts the Falcons. We usually have that one play that hurts us, and hopefully it won't break this drive.
Well, Derek, at that point, had 3 options. He chose to go to the outside. At that time, Todd Samardzija was blocking the outside linebacker, the cornerback, out, and if he would have cut back behind him, he would have had a lot of territory to run.
And off to Wesson, and he's out for about 4 yards, but it's still going to bring up a 3rd down and 7 for the Falcons, so they have 3rd and long once again with 3:25 and counting remaining in this first half. You know, Ken, the Bruin fans here are something else. Maybe it's because we're used to being inside the press box at Fitch, but we're getting a full effect here of their cheering, and they got their whole side filled, and the Falcons got their whole side filled, so we have a capacity crowd here at Bruin Stadium. Fletcher steps back, he throws the ball to Scott. Good reception by Jeff Scott, number 10, and he's been waiting for that all day. He's been open a couple of times, especially on that last play, the play before last where he was open, but Fletcher was sacked, and that time he's good enough for a 13-yard reception.
Now Jeff went up high to get that ball. He has excellent hands, grabbed it and brought it in, knowing full well as soon as he grabbed that ball outstretched, he was going to get hit, and he got hit, but he held on to it, and it's a first down for the Falcons.
So there's now just under 3 minutes left. Falcons on the Bruins 27, the first time they've been in Bruins the 30-yard line. Marakovic will pick up a good carry there, about 6.
Matt's looking for his towel. For a while there, I was worried about his pants. He was dragging one of the Bruins with him, and he was holding on to his leg.
Been effective up the middle tonight with the fullback. We've been able to run Matt very effective. He's getting good yardage right now. He probably is the leading Falcon rusher at this point in the game. Hand off to Connorth, but he's met at the line of scrimmage. And that'll be a no gain, so to bring up a 3rd down and about